and welcome back to the Lyst It podcast. I'm Cameron Clark. This over here is Jackson Trotter, and together we're ranking the top 5 lists regarding any topic surrounding BYU athletics. Before we get into our rankings today, let's list our top moment of the weekend. Jackson?
I had such a good weekend, I have to say. I got to go to Cafe Zupa's. Love that place. I got a lot of hate for it, but I think it's pretty good. I also got to watch my girlfriend in a contemporary dance performance. Really good, really fun weekend. What about you, Cam? What was your number one moment?
So we're going to say my number bottom moment. Number bottom's not a number, but my bottom moment of the weekend, road trip. I'm not a big road trip guy. I was stuck in the back of a minivan and I just couldn't get comfortable. So
Minivan sucks.
That sucked. But number one, we did get to go down to St. George. My sister got endowed in the St. George Temple. So that was really cool to be there for her. My fiance was there. So being able to spend time with my fiance in the temple, pretty good. I loved it. So yeah.
Best place to be with the fiance.
Yes, it is.
I wouldn't know, but maybe one day.
Hey, sure.
Well, now that we've got our weekend out of the way, it's time for our top 5 seniors at BYU this year.
I got it on my list. It don't matter what I do. It's just plain to see the remedy really don't exist. Ain't no getting over you. Yeah.
All right. It's time for the top 5 seniors at BYU. Let's list them. Jackson?
Okay, guys. To start off with our honorable mention, I'm going to give it to my man, the former walk-on, Tanner Wall.
Ooh.
I love Tanner Wall. Tanner Wall has 7 career interceptions. He has a couple iconic moments. The interception against Utah, totally iconic. Putting the seal on that game, picking up Devin Dampier, amazing. He also had the interception against Arizona in 2024. It was a toe tap right on the goal line. One of my favorite plays of the whole 2024 season. That was Tanner Wall. Tanner Wall was also a walk-on as a wide receiver, switched to safety. Had a really great career at BYU. Academic All-American a couple times. He was also into the All-State AFCA Good Works team, and he was a captain while at BYU. Got to give a shout out to my man Tanner Wall. Good luck in the NFL draft. Also, you can't do a list of top 5 seniors without mentioning 44 from 44, my man Will Farron.
Okay.
Love that guy. He saved me from a lot of bickering with Utah fans when he made that field goal in 2024. But onto my list. Number 5 on my top 5 seniors at BYU, Chase Roberts. Chase Roberts is old reliable. He was a great wide receiver at BYU. And just a couple key statistics for Chase. He had 4 games with 100-plus receptions in his senior season alone. He was an academic All-Big 12 player. He was a team captain. He's the only player at BYU with a podcast. He's fluent in Tagalog, which I thought was pretty interesting. But then the stats you really care about, he had 18 career touchdowns. He invented the Super Y. And then he has 2,586 career receiving yards at BYU. He left his impact on BYU, but I would argue that his off-the-field production as a captain and as a leader on the team was even better than his on-the-field production. What do you think about Chase Roberts, number 5, Cam?
I like it. We'll get my list here in just a little bit, but I like that. I think solid. Just when you think of a BYU guy, you think of Chase Roberts, one of the best leaders on the team. Yeah, like you mentioned, he's got a podcast. Maybe we'll get Chase Roberts on this podcast.
Chase?
Hey, we're open to the idea.
At Chase Roberts.
Yeah, I don't know what his handle is. Probably something like that.
We'll look it up.
Yeah.
We'll put it in post.
There we go. But yeah, I like that. Chase Roberts, number 5.
Okay, number 4, Jack Kelly. I might get a lot of hate for this. Jack Kelly was originally in my top 3, but I had to put him at number 4. Jack Kelly had a great career at BYU. His senior season, he had 10 sacks, 31 and a half career sacks. Now, he only played for 2 years at BYU, and so he wasn't a career BYU guy. He's got to get knocked down a little bit for that. But Jack Kelly's career was, he's sacked Kelly. He was a Big 12, all Big 12 first-team player. He had 9 forced fumbles, 190 total tackles in his career. Really, great career for Jack Kelly, but he's got to be at that number 4 spot. Number 3. Now, this is where things are going to start to get controversial, Cam. Okay, bear with me. Number 3, Richie Saunders.
Whoa.
Okay, Richie Saunders he's BYU embodied. What's your general reaction there?
I am shocked. Richie Saunders, I was debating whether or not I'd put him at number 1. for me, and so I'm completely shocked. Keep in mind, we don't know each other's lists beforehand, so this is my first time like hearing Jackson's list, and so 3 for Richie
Yeah,
Saunders.
yeah. Okay, so the people that have at 1 and 2 are like super athletes.
Okay.
Richie didn't finish his senior season. I think if Richie finishes his senior season, he could
But like
be higher on the list.
he missed like 4 games.
He did miss 4 games, but he didn't finish, and it hurt. Now, I have a bad taste in my mouth with the 2026 BYU basketball team. That's just the way it is. The first round exit in the NCAA tournament, it fizzles to me. Now, and if Richie hadn't been hurt and he took the team further in the tournament, he might be higher on the list. But just a couple things about Richie. He was the male outstanding athlete or male outstanding senior award at the Y Awards from BYU.
Okay.
So like BYU recognized him as the best male athlete of the senior class. But he has 1,544 career points, which ranks him 17th all time at BYU. Really great athlete, really great basketball player, but I had to put him at number 3 because let me get to who I have at number 2. James Corrigan. James Corrigan is an Olympian. Richie Saunders isn't an Olympian. Richie Saunders, all respect to him, will never be an Olympian. James Corrigan is an Olympian.
Okay.
James Corrigan is the national champion. James Corrigan holds BYU records and NCAA records in the 3,000-meter steeplechase, which he competed in at the Olympics. I had to put him in at number 2 because of the national recognition.
Yeah.
Because he's an Olympian, because he's an all-time great at his position or in his event at BYU. So do you kind of understand?
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then number 1, I think we might agree on this. Riley Chamberlain
Okay.
has to be number 1. Riley is, again, a national champion. Riley holds multiple BYU records. Riley is just an all-time athlete while at BYU. Let me just get into this. She's the 2-time distance medley relay anchor national champion. So she ran the last leg in the distance medley relay and won the national championship. She holds the NCAA or the Big 12 mile. She's the Big 12 mile indoor champion. She's an All-American. She is the number 1 all-time in the mile indoor in the United States. Number 1 in the country.
Yeah.
Not just at BYU. Sorry, I kind of butchered saying that.
No.
But
I remember seeing that, like when I was looking at everything, and I was just like, "Holy cow!" Like I saw number 1 at BYU. I forgot she holds the record for NCAA.
yeah, the NCAA record, which is insane. Like this is James Corrigan was an Olympian. Riley Chamberlain will probably be an Olympian, and unless did she compete?
I don't think she did.
She didn't compete in Paris, but not in Paris. It was in London.
In Paris, yeah.
In the Olympics. That's my bad. Sorry, but I love Riley Chamberlain. She's a great athlete, and she had to take my top spot because of her accolades, national championships, NCAA records. Which, again, we came across this last week. She's an individual sport athlete, not a team athlete. But still, Richie Saunders wasn't the best at his sport in the country. Riley Chamberlain arguably was one of the best in the country. No shade at Richie. I love Richie. You got to give it to him. But that's my top 5. Cam, what's yours?
Okay, so I'll admit I forgot about James Corrigan when I was looking at everything. I looked at his cross country page and I was like, "Oh, he's a redshirt junior," so I guess he's not eligible. And then now I'm looking at the track and field page. I assume track and field and cross country they'd be the exact same. They're different. So now I'm going to be switching up my list just a little bit because I forget that James Corrigan is on there. Interesting. Okay. So coming in at honorable mention number 2, we're going to go with Easton Jones. The starting third baseman for BYU baseball. We talked beforehand. You mentioned you didn't have any baseball players in the top 5. BYU baseball's got a really good senior group. They've got Garrison Sumner, they've got Ashton Johnson, they've got Bryker Herdsman, Luke Anderson, and then Easton Jones, who I think is probably the best senior on the team this year. Has been their starting third baseman for the last 4 years almost. Kind of started towards the end of his freshman year. But led the team in homers with 14 back in 2024, and is leading the team in homers again this year. They're currently, I believe they're 5th, or tied for 5th in Big 12 standings right now, which is incredible for a team that was picked to finish second to last. And so Easton Jones, 10 homers on the year so far. And so I feel like it's fitting to put him honorable mention for a senior.
I agree.
Coming in number 1 honorable mention, because I had to bump James Corrigan, I went with Chase Roberts.
Okay,
At
Chase
the honorable
Roberts is
mention.
the honorable mention.
Yeah,
Okay,
so,
I respect that. I respect it.
You mentioned Chase. I think, you're just saying all around BYU guy. Chase Roberts has got to be there. So you can't have a list without Chase Roberts on there. So I went with Chase Roberts as honorable mention number 1. And then coming in at number 5, we're going James Corrigan.
Okay.
You mentioned Olympian, just outstanding athlete at BYU. I ran into him on campus like first couple weeks of my freshman year here. I remember just walking by him and thinking, holy cow, I just walked by an Olympian.
Yeah.
And so,
And isn't he he's an engineering major or something?
yeah, something like that.
It's not like he's gonna go be a professional athlete for his career. Like he's has a tough major and he succeeds so much. So he's a cool guy.
Yeah. Let's see. Major, yeah. So crazy stuff. But number 4 for me is where I also went Jack Kelly.
Okay.
I just think, with the sacks that he's had this year. Sack Kelly, there you go, right? Just an all-around guy, Senior Bowl. He'll be I almost said top 5 round draft pick, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree.
Watching his pro day, was one of the best linebackers at the NFL Combine, performed well at the pro day here we had at BYU. But that's kind of where I'm sitting at with 4 through my 2 honorable mentions. Thoughts on the list so far?
I like it. With Chase Roberts, I think a lot of people might be like, "Whoa, Chase Roberts! Why is he so low?" Chase Roberts wasn't the leading receiver at BYU his senior season, and I agree. I agree with what you have so far. I might not agree soon, but
Yeah. So this is where we'll disagree. Number 3, I've got Riley Chamberlain.
Riley Chamberlain at number 3.
That was number 1. I put her at number 3. She's a record holder.
She's a national champion.
She's a national champion. But I don't know. I just think who I have number 1 and number 2 when I think of like a BYU person, like a BYU athlete. And part of that's because track and field, they don't get as much recognition at BYU. But I think of like a career at BYU, even though she anchored the DMRs to national championships in 2024 and 2025, even though she holds the record for the fastest indoor mile at BYU.
Even though she's one of the greatest
athletes here on campus, I have to put her in at number 3.
Okay, well, now I really want to know who's at 1 and 2.
So number 2, I have Richie Saunders.
Okay.
Mr. BYU, Mr. Tater Tot, the Tater Tot King, as they mentioned on Sports Nation earlier today when we were recording. When I think of a BYU senior, I think of Richie Saunders.
Okay.
And my number 1 didn't have as great of a senior season, but when I think of if I'm thinking of like a BYU iconic moment, I think of this guy. But Richie Saunders coming in at number 2 for me, 3-point sharpshooter. That's probably who I've got to go with number 2. I think you probably now have an idea of who I'm going with number 1.
I actually have no idea.
Okay, so he was an honorable mention for you.
Okay.
Will Farron at number 1. Top 5 BYU senior. Struggled a little bit his senior season, but when you look at some of his stats, holds the BYU record for most consecutive made point after attempts at 120. Set the school record for consecutive field goals made with 25. Tied the school record with a 56-yard field goal against Portland State. Senior Bowl, second team All Big 12 member, All Big 12 preseason member, Big 12 Co-Special Team Player of the Year in 2024, the Big 12 Kicker of the Year in 2024. He was an All Big 12 first team member back in 2024. The Lou Groza Award semifinalist, 44-yard game-winning field goal, 22-21 victory over Utah. That moment right there puts him above everyone else. And I know we're talking about like a career, but he was just all reliable. Like Richie Saunders, his sophomore season, kind of was like, okay, we'll see. He kind of had to grow into his role. But I feel like ever since Will Farron has gotten here at BYU, he's been Mr. Reliable. I've never worried when BYU has brought the field goal team out. I'm like, oh, okay, Will Farron can make it.
We've got 3 points.
Yeah.
We can decide the 40-yard line. We've got 3 points.
But I think that moment against Utah where he sealed the victory, I don't know if Richie Saunders really had like a big moment that set him apart, other than maybe like the tater tot thing.
Yeah. Or his free throws against Arizona. Maybe.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But that doesn't. It's not the same as the 44 from 44.
Yeah. So I think you got to go. It's 3 for 3. It's just that's another iconic call, but Will Farron has got to be number 1.
Incoming!
All right. It's time for the guest list, brought to you by currently no one, but if you're wanting to sponsor us, let us know. Jackson, you want to introduce our guest picker today?
Today, our guest is, you know him, my grandma knows him, she loves him, Spencer Linton, the host of the Safety Zone also BYU Sports Nation on BYU TV. Also does some KSL sports stuff. Spencer's a friend of ours. He's a great guy. If you know him, follow him. He's more knowledgeable about BYU sports than almost anyone we know. He's got our guest list today.
All right, so coming up first, we've got our honorable mentions from Spencer. We'll see who he's got. Okay, so he had Kylie Quinto, Tanner Wall, and Trent Moser as his honorable mentions.
Okay, three of them. Okay. I agree with Tanner Wall. I like that.
I thought about Kylie Quinto, the lone senior on the gymnastics team.
Yes.
Spencer calls gymnastics, so he has a little bit
Pretty
more
familiar
knowledge
with that.
than we do. And Quinto had a great year. She performed well in the all-around. When she was honored on senior night for the gymnastics team, you know, if you're going to have one senior from the team, it's got to be a Quinto. She performed really well. And then he has Trent Moser as well on the volleyball team. Transfer from Grand Canyon. Originally started his career at BYU.
Yeah, cool story there.
Yeah, went to Grand Canyon, had 26 kills, I think. I don't know if it was Saturday night or Friday night. Career high for him.
Yeah, 26 on Saturday. That's
So-
crazy. Hey, I thought about including him in my
So did I.
list, but because of his time away from BYU, and now this isn't like who exemplifies BYU the most, right? So maybe I should have put him on there. But I just felt like when I thought about the men's volleyball team, Trent Moser wasn't the first player that came to my mind, and so I didn't include him on my list.
Yeah,
But I like him as an honorable mention.
Yeah, I do too. When I was making my list, I was like, well, there's so many seniors. I had like a total of 6 honorable mentions, but, you know, time-wise, want to keep it to 2. So I went with, him as like my 4th honorable mention.
Yeah.
Actually, my number 5 honorable mention. So,
Yeah,
But-
all respect to Trent Moser.
I like that. So let's see who the number 5 is from Spencer Linton.
Number 5, and these are coming in hot from our producer Owen Hall, the beast of the beast. Follow him. Number 5 is Jack Kelly.
Okay.
Okay, Zach Kelly coming in at number 5. So that means you had him at 4, I had him at 4, Spencer has him at 5. I don't hate that.
I don't either.
This probably means he has Chase Roberts higher.
Got it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Jack Kelly performed better in his years at BYU
I agree.
than Chase Roberts did. So
agree.
that's why I had him ahead. But I think it's understandable. I think they're close enough where
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to hate on Spencer for putting someone else above Jack Kelly. But Jack Kelly at 5, he's definitely a top 5 senior.
Yeah, well, and Jack Kelly was Mr. Linebacker.
Yeah.
Sorry. Jack Kelly had Isaiah Glasker, and he had Salia Serra, and Jack Kelly was really good. But Chase Roberts, now he wasn't the leading receiver at BYU, but he was the go-to guy.
Yeah.
Almost for 3 years while he was at BYU. So, I mean, we'll see. Maybe he's not on the list, but we'll have to see. But I do think Jack Kelly, with his sacks, with the seasons that he had at BYU, with the energy that he brought, he was kind of you think of the difference between 2023 and 2024 for BYU football. Jack Kelly was the difference. He embodied the new era of BYU football, the Jay Hill era, which now we're leaving and going into the Kelly Poppinga era. But if there was a photo that I could put of the Jay Hill era at BYU, it would be Jack Kelly.
I think that's a good way to put it. All right, let's bring in number 4 now from our producer, Owen. All right, number 4. Okay, that's kind of what we expected. We got Chase Roberts.
Chase is on the case.
At number 4, Chase on the case. There's the sign I remember in the student section. Someone had like one of those open signs that you see at like a store. It said Chase is always open. And so that was fun. Just some memorable moments for Chase. We talked about the Super Y against Utah. I think about the 88-yard reception against West
We're
Virginia.
running out of gas.
Yeah, he's like,
Unhitch the trailer.
That's an all-time moment for Chase for me. The one-handed catch against Arkansas. I was on my mission when that happened.
Yeah, me too.
I saw that on one of my buddy's Facebook stories. I was like, holy cow, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And so I think, Chase Kelly at 4, Chase Roberts at 4, Jack Kelly at 5, I think fits.
Yeah, I agree. And this is whole careers, right?
Yeah.
We can't forget about how Chase exploded on the scene against Baylor in 2022. I was on my mission.
Me too.
It was my mom's birthday, and I FaceTimed my mom for her birthday, not knowing she was at the game. And while I was on the FaceTime call with her, Chase Roberts caught his first career touchdown, which is a toe tap touchdown in the back of the end zone at the ending of the first half. BYU ended up going on to beat number 9 Baylor. Chase had a receiving touchdown. He also threw a touchdown to Jaron Hall on a little Steve Young to Eddie Stinnett memorial play where Jaron Hall received and ran in the touchdown. Chase Roberts, I love him. I loved watching him play. All respect to Chase at 4.
Yeah.
But now I think we're ready for number 3. Number 3, Richie Saunders.
I don't like this. I don't like that Richie Saunders is number 3. I think Richie Saunders is a top 2 BYU senior.
I don't think it's any diss to Richie Saunders. I think that it has everything to do with and respect for number 1 and number 2, who I think will be James Corrigan and Riley Chamberlain.
See, I don't know. I don't know if I like that. I think Richie Saunders is a top 2 BYU senior. I think you look at who everybody is. Like, yeah, you have James Corrigan. Yeah, you have Riley Chamberlain. But I think when you think about a career at BYU, you think of Richie Saunders, the true blue BYU guy. Came to the Marriott Center with his grandpa, sat in the top row, right? Kind of that pre-NIL era where, the seating wasn't as competitive pricing-wise. And so you could get a guy like that. Grew up loving BYU in the church gym. He embodies the BYU story.
And I agree with that. But also, like you said it yourself, and I like no shade at Richie Saunders. That's my phrase of the day. Last week it was I love him. This week it's no shade. No shade at Richie Saunders, but you said yourself, he doesn't have a single moment that's like a career-defining moment. Chase Roberts has one. I don't know. Jack Kelly, I don't know. James Corrigan, I'd say has one.
Yeah.
Now Riley Chamberlain as a national champion, like she has one. So like Richie, I think Richie's consistency bites him in the butt in some senses.
Okay.
He's so consistent and so reliable that whenever he wasn't scoring like 18 points per game or whatever it was, people looked down on him and thought that he was off. And so he was so good for so long, so consistently that it came back and it made it so that his career wasn't super like flashy. I think that's the right word, flashy.
Yeah, I don't think I agree with this. But I guess we'll just...
I agree, Spencer.
I do not agree, Spencer. But I don't know. Richie Saunders, number 3. So where Spencer's at right now, got Richie Saunders 3, Chase Roberts 4, Jack Kelly 5, with honorable mentions Kylie Quinto, Tanner Wall, and Trent Moser. I'm hoping Will Farron cracks the top 2, but I'm starting to lose hope. Here comes number 2. Riley Chamberlain.
Chamberlain at number 2.
So you had her at 1, I had her at 3.
Okay, so he split the difference. I'm curious who he's going to have at number 1. Is it going to be James Corrigan or is it going to be Will Farron? Maybe it'll be Will Farron, but I like Riley Chamberlain here. I think, again, national champion, NCAA record holder. Like, no one else on this list holds an NCAA record.
No.
Riley Chamberlain does in multiple events. So you got to give her flowers for that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Can we just talk about how good track and field is at BYU, though?
Yeah, that's two shows in a row. Jane Hendingen last week, Riley Chamberlain this week. If we were to rank our top 5 coaches, I bet Diljeet Taylor would rank.
She'd be there probably pretty high. I think you just talked about success at BYU, and track and field is really where it's at. So I'm really excited to see where Spencer goes with number 1. So you had Riley at number 1 with Corrigan at number 2. I had completely forgotten about Corrigan, which you think he'll still be coming back next year for cross country.
Yes.
So that'll be big for
But
BYU.
he is technically a senior.
Yeah, he's a senior for track and field. Yep.
It's a little hairy there.
And I think that's what his sport is. You think about him, he's a steeplechase guy.
Steeplechase, yeah.
But we'll see. I hope it's Will Farron. I hope Spencer. I hope you're agreeing with me. Let's see where we go. Guest list, number 1 pick from Spencer Linton.
Number 1, coming in. It's Will Farron.
James Corrigan.
You, Owen? I was so excited. I was so ready.
Can we get an instant replay of the look on Cameron's face? Okay, James Corrigan comes in at number 1. What's your how are you doing, Cameron?
It makes sense. I've learned my lesson to check both track and field and cross country because I was just thinking, it's probably the same for both. But I don't know. Maybe James Corrigan was a mission kid, came back after cross country had started, so that would make sense. But I think you need Will Farron on the list. And so Spencer, that's where I'm going to disagree with you. I think Will Farron's got to be on there. Like, it's through for 3. Like, it's just an iconic moment. And I know we're not ranking iconic moments, but with how reliable and how consistent Will Farron was, I think he's got to be on there.
Now, I agree. I mean, clearly I don't agree. I guess he wasn't in my top 5. But James Corrigan and Riley Chamberlain have hardware.
Yeah.
Will Ferrin didn't win the Lou Rosa. Like, he was a finalist, but he didn't win it. And I agree. Like, if you're looking at all-time greats in their position at BYU, Will Ferrin is probably the best kicker BYU's ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's a couple guys that could compete with him, but Will Ferrin holds the record in consecutive PATs, holds the record in consecutive field goals. He's almost automatic, and I think it was the ending of his senior season that kind of tainted some views. Recency bias always trumps, right?
Yeah.
And Will Ferrin wasn't super. He was great, but he wasn't super consistent at the ending of his senior season.
Yeah, but I don't know. I still think, like, when you think about his whole career, I think you've got to go with Will Ferrin at least in the top 5. But I don't know. I think back to James Corrigan. I remember I'd just gotten off my mission, found out that Corrigan was, had the chance to qualify if he could beat 8:13 or 8:15, I think it was, in the 3,000 meter steeplechase, and there at the Penn Relays in the Summer Showcase. He did it, so he was an Olympian.
Oh.
So only one Olympian on this list, James Corrigan. So it makes sense why he's at number 1. I just think Will Ferrin should have been on the list somewhere.
And James Corrigan is the only one on this list that I've given a second meeting talk on.
Okay. Yeah.
A really, really great guy. I love that guy.
Little side note, Spencer really wanted me to emphasize this. Give the runners some respect.
Amen. Amen. So when I work, Cam and I and Owen, we all work at BYU TV. And when I first got my job working on BYU Sports Station, my brother-in-law's dad texted me and was like, you need to tell those guys to talk more about the cross-country runners. It's like they're doing incredible things, and they are doing incredible things. So got to give them their flowers, got to give them their respect. But we have our lists. We have Spencer's list. It's time to check it twice.
Yep. So let's bring out our whiteboards. I'm going to have to make an edit on mine since I completely forgot about James Corrigan. But don't mind that. I don't know. Spencer, when he gave us this list, he was confident that his list was going to win. I don't know.
So Spencer's list and my list are pretty similar. Our top 5, we have the same 5 athletes in our top 5. Just the order has changed because remember I've got Riley Chamberlain, James Corrigan, Richie Saunders, Jack Kelly, Chase Roberts at 5, Tanner Wall and Will Ferrin as my honorable mention. Whereas Spencer's got James, Riley, Richie, Chase, Jack, and then Kylie, Tanner, and Trent as his honorable mentions. So pretty similar, but
I guess the more I think about, like, James Corrigan, I think you think about him of what he did outside of BYU.
yeah, he wasn't wearing a BYU jersey at
No.
the Olympics.
And, like, if you think of, like, top 5 U.S., like, if you think about top 5 Olympians, maybe Corrigan could be on that list.
Yeah.
But, while he qualified, he was wearing his BYU singlet. But I don't think you can qualify what Corrigan has done at BYU. I mean, he holds the Big 12 outdoor record in 3,000 meter steeplechase, which, yeah, that's great.
Which he did set at Penn Relays,
That's true.
where he qualified for the Olympics.
But I don't know. I just don't think you can go. No shade to James Corrigan. But the feeling I got when I walked past Will Ferrin on campus versus when I walked past James Corrigan on campus,
My girlfriend's mom would agree with you.
I was more
She loves
excited
Will Ferrin.
to see Will Ferrin than I was James Corrigan.
Okay, and I respect that. And I honestly, if we're ranking our lists, I would go my list at number 1, Spencer's list at number 2, Cam's at number 3.
I think that's probably fair. Like, as much as I think my list is better than your guys's, I think because you guys agreed on the list, I think it's fair that I probably dropped down to number 3. But I'm just shocked that Spencer didn't have Will Ferrin at all.
Yeah,
on
not
here.
even as an honorable.
So I think that's fair that you put him at number 2 with you at number 1.
Yeah, and I just think the reason I think Jack Kelly's career was more notable than Chase Roberts.
Yeah.
And Riley Chamberlain's career, multiple national championships, multiple NCAA records, it was more notable than James Corrigan's. Now these athletes are great. They're so great. We're gonna miss them a lot at BYU. But I think that's where we've checked it twice. I think that's where we're at.
I think so too. Let's get into our blind rankings. You've seen our list. Now it's time for us to not see whatever list is coming up next. So Owen is going to give us a couple of names, and we're going to go ahead and rank this next list blindly. So I'm excited to see what we've got. We blind ranked the seniors last time out, so now it's time to blind rank whatever Owen gives us.
Yeah, and as a reminder, we don't know the people that will be on the list, and we also don't know the topic that we're gonna be ranking.
All right, Owen.
All righty. Tyler Algier.
Tyler Algier. I've lost my pen.
That's really well. You can share mine.
Where did I put it?
I don't
Oh,
know.
wait, I found it. It was in my pocket. Tyler Algier.
I'm gonna put him at number 4.
I think we're going all-time running backs at BYU. There's a running back that is my very favorite BYU athlete ever. Okay, Jamal Williams. I'm gonna put Tyler Algier at number 2. Okay, I don't know how to spell his last name. I'm sorry, Tyler Algier.
Hey, you spelled it right. Yeah,
Did I
we-
really?
we spelled it the same way. So they're both really bad at spelling, but we got it right.
Okay, Tyler Algier, I've got number 2.
Okay, I've got him at 4.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Will Farron.
Oh, whoa.
Are you going to stand by Will? Put him at number 1, Cam?
I have no idea where we're going with this list. So,
So I was wrong.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking it could be.
Will Farron is not a running back. I'm gonna put him. I'm gonna put him at 4.
I put him at 3. I have no idea what this list is going to be.
Yeah, Will Farron at 4. Tyler Algier at 2.
All right, next up. Richie Saunders.
What? Maybe it's top male athletes at BYU. I don't know. Richie, I'm gonna reserve the 1 spot. I'm gonna put Richie at 3.
Can I put Richie as an honorable mention? Just kidding. I'll put him at 5. So I've got 1 and 2 left. What do you have left?
I have 1 and 5. So yeah.
Darius Lassiter.
Oh man, the babysitter. You Jose's watchers, you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna put Darius at 5.
Oh, I think I know.
Do you think this is iconic moments?
No, I think I know where this list is going.
Where
And
I have no idea. So
okay. Now I'm trying to guess who number 1 is, though.
okay, I'm putting him at 5. You
Put
put
him
him
at
at 2.
2.
Okay.
All right, last one. Bear Bachmeyer.
Oh, number 1.
Okay, I thought we were going all-time junior seasons, but I guess Lassiter was a senior last year.
Bear Bachmeyer. Okay, he's coming in at my number 1. So I got Bear, Tyler, Rich, Will, Darius.
I got Bear, Darius, Will, Tyler, Richie.
So you guys are completely lost on this.
So
right?
complete
Yeah,
loss. I want to take it. Should we take a guess?
Is it
A
all?
stab in the dark.
Is it like male athletes? Like
I don't know, because I think there's other male athletes that I put above these guys, like the Darius
Yes.
Lassiter. So the Richie Saunders is what throws me off the most.
It could be iconic moments or iconic players, because like I could see like Bear Bachmeyer's hurdle versus Utah, Tyler Algier's punch versus ASU,
Yeah.
Richie Saunders' free throws versus Arizona, Will Farron's reception or field goal versus Utah, Darius Lassiter's touchdown versus Oklahoma State. Is that where?
It's along the lines. You got it right.
Okay.
So these are some of my favorite moments from recent BYU history. Next week we can go over your guys' top 5s of your favorite moments that you personally watched.
Okay.
I personally watched every one of these games live when they happened.
Amen.
Ooh,
All
I
of
like
them
that.
insane.
I like
all of them
that.
Super high energy. So that was a bit of my list.
Okay.
You own it. These moments, like honestly. So just a couple things. I know we're over on time. I'm sorry. Tyler Algier, I was in the MTC when the punch versus ASU
So
happened.
did you not see that one?
I heard it.
Okay.
I remember I was laying in my bed and all of a sudden, like we opened our window or like something.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember. It was a long time ago. And all of a sudden we heard like a loud roar from the stadium and I got a message from my dad and he was like, "You'll never guess what just happened." And then Darius Lassiter, his touchdown that was on my birthday
Okay.
against Oklahoma State. BYU's never lost on my birthday. And I was like, BYU's never lost on my birthday. They're going to win. And my friends were kind of making fun of me because BYU was about to lose. And then one of the most iconic moments, one of my favorite moments in Lavelle Edwards Stadium history was that touchdown against Oklahoma State. So I don't like my list, honestly.
I hate mine. I'll say that flat out. I hate it.
The Bear Bachmeyer hurdle was pretty
That
iconic.
one-
The hurdle and the truck.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty iconic.
We'll talk more about what parameters we're looking at, if it's a single play or if it's like moments in a game. We'll talk more about what that means. But for now, this is Jackson Trout over here. I'm Cam Clark. Make sure to comment your top 5 seniors at BYU, whether on our Instagram, our Twitter, our Spotify, our YouTube.
We're looking at you, Jacob Long.
Yeah. Let's hear what you've got to say. We'd love to hear from our audience. If you're looking to sponsor us, we'd love to have that as well. But yeah, this has been the Lyst It podcast.